Yeah, absolutely happy to have Nate from Motherfolk. Man, how are you doing? How's it going? Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me once again. I'm happy to be here for my second go through uh, after my transgressions last time.
All good. Yeah. Yeah, no worries at all whatsoever. I guess again, kind of the easiest place to start is, what specifically like in your household growing up, what kind of music were your parents listening to? What kind of music influenced you and kind of wanted you to make your own?
Yeah, a lot of what I listened to growing up definitely came from my dad, and he just kind of listened to like any music that was made between the 60s and I guess 90s at that time.
Mm,
So it was a lot of like, gosh, Eagles, Kiss, Boy George, Styx, Foreigner, just kind of all over the place. But Elton John was a big one that we listened to a lot. That was definitely certainly my basis for like loving music and
mhm.
enjoying it. Um, yeah,
So now, like, I mean, at least for me, like I had my parents' influence, which was like a whole ton of country music when I was a kid. That's all we really listened to. It's all we were played in the car kind of situation. And then,
okay,
when I was able to find, LimeWire and things of that sort, I kind of developed my own taste into other places.
yeah.
So when you kind of got that affinity to find your own music, what were you gravitating towards? Was that some of that same stuff, or were you kind of
Yeah,
venturing out?
it was weird. When I sort of gained that agency of kind of deciding what music I liked,
Yeah.
um, I bounced around to a lot of different stuff. I remember really loving rap and hip hop in my early elementary years. And then from that, and I think I got sucked into the Linkin Park pipeline, and that sort
Same.
of spat
Yeah,
me out into an alternative rock world.
sure.
Um, yeah, and then at some point as a middle schooler, uh, just getting more into punk rock, discovered Warped Tour,
Yeah.
um, and got really into that scene in my teen years. And um, yeah, my taste in music have truly been ever evolving.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think I went through almost like the same sort of phases, and to a point, like I mean, a lot of them still stick around for me, but I went through that Linkin Park
Yeah,
pipeline for sure. I had a Meteora poster on my wall as a kid.
yes,
I ended up in the worlds of like, all kind of still having this like rap and hip hop basis because, my friends listened to a lot of that and we would always have like MTV jams on in the background at our
yeah.
houses. Ended up in like a Rise Against world, a Circa Survive type world.
Okay,
Um,
yeah,
yeah, before kind of, jumping into this, it's been everywhere. It's kind of the same way I've gone through, um, definitely gone through eras of music in my life. So now I guess kind of the same way, now Motherfolk's been making albums since 2014, I believe. And
yeah,
how has your guys' sound evolved over that decade or so?
yeah. Quite a bit. When we started as a band, it truly was like kind of a folk rock endeavor. I mean, we
Hmm.
included it in our name, and that was just like the music we had been into at the time. There were definitely the big like um, sort of Mumford and Sons, Avett Brothers, Lumineers artists out there, but we even like gravitated towards a more underground like folk rock scene in
Hmm.
those early days. So um, that was what the first record, maybe two records, kind of was. From there, it was sort of this slow evolution into more of just a, I don't know, all encompassing indie rock. I don't know what genre is anymore.
Yeah, genre has become everything and nothing all at the same time. It feels like,
Yeah.
like everybody. It's funny when people who get really hung up on that on a genre and like, I find it especially interesting in this indie rock indie because like indie rock nowadays means virtually anything you wanted to.
Yeah,
And
it means you have, I guess, like guitars, drums, and bass. It
that's what it
seems to
feels
be,
like. Yeah.
yeah,
It's weird because like indie rock, or at least the indie rock I listen to, is almost like so akin to like shoegaze in a way that is like
yeah,
we're really mixing genres. It's kind of cool though because it allows for, I don't know, I think a bigger audience for everybody.
yeah. I think it's just come to be the term that describes whatever the sort of alternative to a more mainstream like music source is.
Yeah,
Indie rock, yeah. So
yeah,
the
I would agree.
context of when you're saying it means a lot too, I guess.
Yeah, it's 100%, and that's always funny too, right? Because like I feel like you can go from indie rock to just like rock in a second, depending on your popularity, and
Yeah,
that's a funny thing we don't talk about either. I feel like because like folk, especially with the way like Spotify breaks out playlists sometimes, or anybody breaks up, it's like it goes like folk, and then you got folk pop, which is just popular folk music, and it's like why are we doing this at times? But I
yeah,
digress. So your guys' newest album, Eternal Joy. Do you just want to kind of talk about some of the overarching themes to that? What went
yeah,
into making it, and you know, it's obviously out for everybody. So let's hear about it.
yeah, definitely. It is an album we finished kind of in two pieces. We started writing and recording it, I think in 2023, and then just had a bunch of like life events and a member change and everyone, kind of becoming adults and entering post 30 and figuring out where the band sort of fits in everything.
Hmm.
So that kind of went on before we sort of came back to and finished the album. Um, so those are certainly a lot of the overarching themes, I guess, behind it. I think it's a an album about transition and everything that means. But sonically was a really fun project too because you mentioned shoegaze earlier. I've been um, what feels like devouring every uh, like shoegaze source for the last 2.5 years.
Right.
Um, where I think I got into, or I'd heard a My Bloody Valentine song a few years ago and kind of just like discovered the whole 90s, 80s shoegaze dream pop scene
Yeah.
and got really into, how all that started, where all that started. And it definitely, definitely comes through on the record. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean the shoegaze stuff is it's always been interesting to me too, kind of how that particular sound has evolved, like you said, from the 80s and 90s, even to like what I feel like is considered
Yeah,
shoegaze nowadays. Like the sound is altered in a
for
weird
sure.
way. Um, so specifically off your album, my favorite song, or at least one of them, Tiny Thoughts, just kind of the backstory behind that one and
Yeah.
how it came to be.
Yeah, that song started. I remember I wrote it right after having a dream, and I don't exactly remember what the dream was, but it kind of just stirred up a train of thought that turned into the song, which was where at the time I'd been thinking a lot about like when I'm not doing the band thing, my
Mhm.
gig at home is I'm a freelance videographer, so I end up doing lots of different like projects, events, whatever. I end up doing a lot of weddings on weekends. And so just kind of this like um, perspective I had started to notice doing that so much where like I am coming in to document like maybe the most important moment of a person's life or one of them.
Mhm. Yeah.
Um, Not even really knowing them and also not really knowing if I'll ever see them again afterwards. And it's just such a weird like fly on the wall observational perspective. And I think that's kind of just like what that song is. The It kind of is from this perspective of being like completely detached and observational about these things that are happening through a lens that you're
Yeah.
viewing it in. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely never thought of, you're kind of right. Like I never viewed, somebody having like a photographer at their wedding is like, you're inviting this person who you probably barely know into this very, very intimate space. And that really must, like, people maybe don't take into consideration how weird it is for those people to just kind of be in that space and be
Yeah, it's not even
attached but
like
detached.
not even weird in a bad way. It's just like
Hmm.
weird in a objectional way, I think, where
Yeah,
it's like
and just like
I'm happy to
observing the
do it. I'm
human.
happy to be there and, capturing a memory for somebody really is like a special thing.
Yeah,
And so I still put a lot of myself into that, but it's just such a weird, like in between space, a very
yeah,
liminal space that you existed.
yeah. Definitely an interesting spot to observe the human condition for sure. So you mentioned like this album being kind of a transitional space for the band and for you, and uh, do you feel going forward that the band's going to continue in this like kind of shoegazy inspired sound sonically, or are you going to kind of continue to evolve? Like you've gone from this folk space into much more rock, indie rock, shoegazy inspired sound.
That's a great question. No, I don't. I think Motherfolk has literally changed from every single album that we've
Hmm.
done into the next one. There have been like natural evolutions, there have been jumps. So like change is kind of at this point I've kind of accepted it. It's just maybe that's what the band we are. Like, I feel like every album we made, we were always trying to find what our genre is.
Yeah,
And through doing that, kind of just like tiptoed into a bunch of genres along the way and took pieces and some of those pieces fell away and some of them stayed. And I think this album's not any different. I think there will probably be elements of it that live on or echo into the next thing. But we've already started working on the next album and it's already very different. So
yeah.
um, yeah.
Do you think that's something that, especially for people who like follow Motherfolk and listen to Motherfolk all the time, is that, um, I don't know, is that what keeps fans coming back? Is this growth, or you think it's, just kind of
Yeah.
being kind of true to who you guys are?
I would hope so. I'm sure there are people who, or I know there are people who um loves the sounds of certain records and the other ones not so much. So
Mm,
like that doesn't really hit me in any sort of negative way. I think as long as we are being true to us and like making the thing we want to make, we will intersect with the right people at the right time. Um,
yeah,
and there are also a large group of fans who do love it and I think are along for the roller coaster ride that is Motherfolk.
yeah. Uh,
Yeah.
when you guys approach making an album, is it, or even just maybe a songwriting process, right? Is it a collaborative process amongst the core of the band, or is it a one man show per song kind of deal?
That's like really oscillated, like back and forth. I'm sorry, my
You're
dog
good.
loves to bark.
You're good.
Buddy, come here. Um, that's another thing that's really changed uh, over the years too. Is like when it started, it was two of us that were the main like writers and people, and we made our first album that way. Um, like playing all the instruments in the studio and uh once we like got more band members, I think our next album was like a little more collaborative with the people in the band. But then eventually too, uh, we got into the production side of things, and so that really opened up a whole new world of
Mhm.
what could be done in a song from a songwriter's perspective. So we really dove into that um, and made a record that way too, where it really was just kind of two of us making everything
Mhm.
again, but like in a bedroom.
Yeah,
Um, and then, yeah, the next thing we're working on is definitely going to be a more collaborative piece again. And I think that just kind of literally always changes with like who is available and has a space in their life to make an album kind of thing. And right
yeah,
now it lines up. Sometimes it doesn't, and you make an album yourself, and that's fun too.
yeah. In terms of like, so I mean, I'm sure as somebody who makes music, you probably consume a good bit of it. In terms of any other forms of art, like movies, books, art in general, is there any other things that really kind of um, inspire you in that sense when you come to, songwriting?
Yeah, for sure. The last couple of years, I've gotten really into like analog art.
Hmm.
So just I kind of have like a CRT rig and uh, a few cameras that I set up in wacky ways and film trippy visuals, and that's just been a very like fun hobby that's leaked into um, sort of the visual imagery of the band too. But it's truly something that's just like fun and relaxing for me to do, and so I do a lot of that, uh, and that definitely inspires, I think, the sound of the things I'm creating too. I like to read. I'm reading a lot of books about physics at the moment because that's been something that is scratching all kinds of itches in my brain I didn't know I
Yeah,
had. So,
yeah,
um, yeah, but honestly, any sort of like good art, I love. I love films too. I love TV, music, obviously, podcasts. Yeah,
right. So, in terms of, I guess, just being an artist in general, right? Especially a musician nowadays, it feels like everybody's wearing, an extra 10 hats, so to speak, outside of just
yeah,
making music and just touring. In terms of the social media piece of that, are you someone who, finds enjoyment out of it or a necessary evil type deal? How are we approaching that particular piece of it?
yeah. I probably border on necessary evil. Not that I even like want to label it that negatively. It's just such a different job than I think what some musicians, myself included, like really set out to do.
Yeah,
Um, where it always for us, it has just been like make the music, like record the album, tour. That's your job.
yeah,
And now it's like you are almost expected to be some base level of influencer, um, which is like not a hat I ever want to wear. And
right.
so the social media thing has been tricky. Like it obviously is our primary outlet into the world and the best way for us to communicate with the people that want to follow along with what we're doing.
Mm,
Um, but I also feel pretty strongly about like not completely giving into that. And I don't know. I think we're trying to like create more physical spaces or like experiences that are
hmm.
like not so attached to social media and your phone. Um, and I don't know exactly what that is. Um, other than a live show, of course, that's one of the best in-person experiences you can have. So
Hmm.
that's kind of where our focus goes. Um, it's just like really honing that and crafting that uh, a little more than I pay attention to maybe the social media side of things.
Yeah, I mean, and
Yeah.
honestly, rightfully so. Like, I feel like there are a handful of people, like I can think of off the top of my head, that do it very well, and it feels like it's 100% benefited them. But yeah, I mean, especially
There
I
definitely
can
are.
only,
Yeah.
yeah, and as an artist, it has to be. I don't want to call it like inhibiting to your creativity, but like it definitely weighs on a certain part of the brain that you wouldn't probably don't
Yeah,
want that extra stress on at times.
for
So I
sure.
think
'Cause it is exhausting.
mhm,
Yeah.
100% exhausting. Even for someone, as myself who operates in it on a regular basis, it is still
Yeah.
something you need to understand to take breaks from and understand to put down at times and to move on
Right.
from and to let it breathe for a minute. And um, so I think, yeah, like you said, creating those physical spaces, those even the physical media in a way is making a comeback, right? Like vinyls
For
are
sure.
having a rerun around and all this stuff where people can just kind of have this tangible hold on it, right? And I think that
Yes.
matters a lot for artists, especially.
Definitely does.
Um, so I guess outside of that space, right? So been around a decade. what have been some of the cool like this is our job moments as a band?
Yeah. I remember actually specifically one moment where we all said together that this is our job now. In early 2020, right before COVID happened, we did um, a tour supporting our album Family Ghost. And it was really, up until that point, like we toured a lot, but the shows were really, really hit or miss. And um, you could maybe play to 50 or 100 people one night randomly, or you could play to like the bartender.
Right.
Um, and so, but after we put that album out and we did that tour, it was like literally the first time ever where show after show was well attended. And there was a moment we had backstage in Austin, Texas, uh, where we were like, wait, this is like we're a real band now. Like we can actually do this. And that
Yeah.
was yeah, that was one of the important moments that sticks out. But we've had tons of like career landmark things happen to us too. We've gotten to play Lollapalooza twice.
Hmm.
We've opened for the Lumineers. We got to sing the national anthem at an NFL game, which was random and cool.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's a lot to look back on.
Do you do you often? I mean, I know I personally struggle with this, right? Do you find it easy to kind of look back and reflect on successes, or are you always pushing the goalpost further, so to speak?
I don't think I pushed the goalpost further in the sense of like needing to top our past success, because honestly a lot of it is like very fulfilling, and like
Yeah.
to look back and be like, oh, we got to have that experience and do that thing that no one else I know like in my day-to-day life gets to do.
Yeah.
Where I move the goalposts for myself is just like in an artistic and a creative standpoint. Like I think that's where I'm always trying to top past me. Um, and not necessarily like the success of that thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's honestly that's like amazing. I know, like I said, I personally struggle with the whole looking back and being like, oh yeah, like I did that kind of thing. It's always like, not that I'm trying to top it, but it's very like, what can I do now?
Yeah. Well, there's a sense too that like it's going to go away, right? Like if
hmm,
you don't. So,
right.
yeah.
Has there ever been a moment where with like the band, I guess, where you guys were like, maybe not hang it up, but maybe this is kind of the end of a run type deal?
Yeah. No, we just spent like 2 years perpetually in that state.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Um, and yeah, it was something that we learned like that we still really value having it be still a big chunk of our lives, but it just needed to be balanced better
Hmm.
with everybody involved, because we are all getting older and we're buying houses and we're like we have these responsibilities, and it's like you can't just play 200 shows a year again and
Right.
hope to break even. And
Yeah.
yeah, so um it's changed, and it took a couple of years to figure out how to change it and really balance it, but um it does feel like we have our footing now and are like have a good springboard to launch into the next thing.
Yeah. I love that. I think yeah, I mean, balance, of course, especially as you kind of get older, matters more than anything. It feels like
Yeah.
burnout happens so incredibly fast, especially as you get older. Um,
Yep.
so, obviously, I live most of my life inside of music curation. So, two questions, I guess. Out of your entire Motherfolk discography, what's the song that um, you're most proud of?
Man, I could answer that question in so many different ways, but I guess I can speak to a song that I'm like personally proud of. Was there's a song called Red Eye on our album Family Ghost, and it was the first like I don't know, like real song I felt like I had written. Up until that
Hmm.
point we had a couple albums, but I definitely was still trying to figure out like how to do the thing. And
Yeah.
um writing that song, recording that song, um, was a proud moment to be able to like put something together that other people genuinely jived with and uh, kind of validated me as a songwriter.
Yeah, I love that. Outside of that, so I always ask artists, again, what about a song or an artist that you've really been into recently that you think kind of deserves a little more recognition?
Oh man, the music I listen to is so strange. um, but at least as of late. But there's an artist I've been listening to a lot called M Ward, like M
Okay.
dot Ward.
Yeah.
Um, and I really don't know anything about him other than the music that I've been listening to, but it's like a strange folk, like folk
Okay.
songs from a parallel dimension almost.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's very odd, always interesting, but also has these like golden nuggets of extremely catchable, earwormy melodies too.
Yeah.
And so yeah, that's an artist I've been
And
listening
Ward.
to a lot
Okay. Yeah.
very
Love
recently.
it.
Yeah.
I have to definitely have to give it a listen. So I guess kind of too, like wrapping up here, like what can fans kind of expect from Motherfolk, and what do you got coming up?
Coming up, we are going on tour pretty much everywhere in the continental US. Um, Playing a lot of our new album, playing a bunch of stuff from the old albums too. Um, that starts at the beginning of September, and then later into the fall, October, November, we'll be doing a West Coast leg as
Yeah.
well. Then after that, we're probably going to make a new album and then figure out next year. I don't know.
Yeah. Amazing. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I love it, and can't wait to hear what else you guys have coming. And I appreciate you taking the time today.
Yeah. Thank you, man.
Yeah, appreciate you.